as Zion and Zachariah Branch are heading to the University of Georgia. Your thoughts about them going to Georgia and play for the Dogs?
Yeah, I've been a huge Zachariah Branch fan, which is hard for me to admit because he was such a star for USC as a freshman and then hit his ceiling a little bit in his sophomore year. Felt like Miller Moss was not able to set him up to succeed the same level that Caleb Williams was able to. But him now joining this Georgia squad, that was the biggest problem all year long for this Georgia team. Is what we talked about is that lack of impact from receivers. We saw the athletes, we saw the guys that could make the big plays, but their hands and not coming down with the football was a continuous headache for Georgia. Now that you throw in the most dynamic and explosive receiver in the country, like, let's be honest here, this kid, his ceiling is to be the most dangerous weapon at receiver in all of college football. If Mike Bobo and assuming Gunnar Stockton starts, figure out how to get that kid the football early and often, get him, jet sweeps, let him return kicks, throw him screen passes, whatever you can do to get that guy a ton of touches throughout games. It is going to be so important for Georgia re-entering the national championship scope and not falling into a lull where they're missing out on these national championship opportunities. I think that this is a huge catalyst for long-term success of them getting back on track.
I still find it wild that people are taking dumps on Georgia. Guys, they've lost 5 games in 3 years. That's number one by any team in the country. So I think y'all might want to calm down there. Here's the thing that I want to go here. I love this for Zachariah Branch for multiple reasons, along with his brother. And I'm going to say this word, and people are going to snip at it because of all the all-season stuff that happens around Georgia. Structure. Off-season weightlifting. Knowing what you need to do. I think for him, it may be, from a structure standpoint, arguably one of the better places that he can go. Kirby ain't going to play with that BS now. He ain't going to do it. Now, you're right. He is one of the more explosive players. Washington, meaning the Huskies, who went from 130th in passing yards allowed last year to now number 1 in the country this year in passing yards allowed. The little boy Belichick needs some credit on that. Mm-hmm. That game, he had over 100 yards. The only game that he had over 100 yards. We've seen him in moments, LSU, Washington, be even the 20-yard catch that he had against Notre Dame, where he's out in the open field, he's making Xavier Watts miss in the open field. Like that in and of itself, he's proven against elite guys that he can make plays, right? That's not a slight on Xavier Watts or the LSU guys or the Washington guys. It's just the truth. I think that it's interesting here for him because he's going with his brother, but not only going there, he's going across country, East Coast, West Coast from to East Coast, in a different conference that is going, he will be their number one vocal point. I felt like with Lincoln, they tried to fit a square peg in a round hole, meaning Lincoln wanted structure at receiver. This kid is give him the ball, find ways to get him the ball, and let him go. I thought he was highly misused, and a lot of times that we watched USC games this year, and that's just the truth.
Yeah.
So he had 47 catches for 500 yards. You're getting them the ball, but you're not getting him vertical. You're not trying to push the ball down the field to him. I'll never forget this. The year 1 picture that they posted in the preseason from him from year 1 to year 2, the kid was screaming that I want structure. Georgia's not necessarily the place. Now, they will, but Georgia's not necessarily the place that people think of money, NIL portal, in those contexts. They think of Ole Miss, Ohio State, LSU, Notre Dame in certain spurts when they go out and get guys. That's who they think. Georgia don't be doing stuff like this. I'm telling you, this is screaming that I want something that I know that has a great structure around it that will develop me and get me to the league. He's also going to be going up against some of the best DBs in the SEC right on his own team. He's not going to, some of these weeks, Joe, he'll be going up against in week 4, starting the SEC play, like, bro, like the guys I was facing in practice are not better than the guys I'm facing in the game. I love this for him. One big issue. Can they find ways to get him the football is going to be the ultimate thing for me. We'll see. I don't know if I schematically like the fit or not.
Right, because we just don't – I understand that angle because we just don't know what this Georgia offense looks like with a receiver like him. And I think that that's also where you can pull positivity from this is that they haven't had somebody as dynamic as Zachariah Branch, that he could end up being a missing facet that they just haven't had. Just a guy that you get him the ball and you just let him go crazy.
Joe, I'm going to keep – I know I don't talk about this with you on this show, so we've never really gotten into this conversation. If you're going to utilize a tight end in the passing game, the way that Georgia – Notre Dame – name the teams, Penn State, Iowa. If you don't have a vertical threat that can stretch the field and got the speed and explosiveness that this kid does, sometimes it doesn't work there. Believe me, I've seen it. Ironically, I've seen it twice. We all literally saw it last year. I know you and I don't talk about that, but I always come back to what is the constant thing that always works and stuff like this. So, look, we'll see. I thought Gunnar Stockton played good enough for them to win. They got to get better along their offensive line.